Whoa, let's go. Today we've got Teer from Belfast. And we were just talking beforehand, and Ashley said Belfast is really magnificent. So I said, I've never been to Ireland. I should go, shouldn't we? Because there's some really important sites in Ireland, isn't there?
And Frank is Irish, your husband.
Oh gosh, yeah, my husband is Irish, but he went to Ireland when he was 7, so we haven't been back because we keep thinking it's quite cold there, so it's best to go to the sun. That's what we've done in the past. But I think we should go to Ireland because it's a magical place, isn't it? With all the stories about elves, about fairies and so on.
Yeah.
I think the leprechauns as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
we need to.
I've never been. I've been all over the world. So many countries, but I've never visited Ireland.
I know, isn't that strange? It's like it's the jewel, isn't it? It's the Emerald Isle, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Isle.
Yeah, because today we've got Ashley, and Ashley she's got such beautiful eyes. You can tell that she's that from that beautiful island. And obviously I'm Danielle Sheehan, and there's April Rogers.
Hi.
Traveled 40 countries but never ever been to Ireland. Can you believe that? And we're only a few throws away, maybe we should tell people now, visit Ireland. It's
divine timing.
Divine
at the right time.
I know. Divine timing, yeah. So our YouTube channel is really about connecting with spiritual entrepreneurs, people who are opening up, people who are waking up, and trying to tap into that source of new energy that everyone is talking about, this fifth dimension, moving the 5D. It is an exciting time, isn't it, with COVID-19? So it's just it's brilliant, what we're witnessing. I know some people are suffering, obviously, but if we go into this joyful mood that we are trying to create with our YouTube channel, which is creating this buzz that will, bring in more joy and happiness to the world, and then we'll make this amazing shift. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce again Ashley. Who did you want to say anything before we ask the questions? April,
No. I'm good. In particular, I'm just very open for discussion, connecting, and vibing off like-minded people. So I'm ready to rock.
April, do you want to say anything about our YouTube channel?
No, it's fine. Let's jump into the interview. It's fine.
Okay, Ashley, if you can start with telling us a little bit about yourself, about your journey. And I think you've got some exciting news for us anyway that you're going to share. And you are a psychic medium. You are you do workshops. I don't know. You do so much. You've got a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, carry on.
Yep. So as wonderful Danielle was saying there, I'm Teer. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, spiritual medium, inspirational speaker, healer of negative self-beliefs. So I work with sovereign alchemy, a healing of the psyche, love philosophy, so many things, but just really moving into a bit like yourself, Danielle and April, just getting the positive message and upliftment and just the inspiring things that can really help people out there. So I'm more about teaching and just getting a different point of view out there, really. Well, a bit about me and my sort of spiritual journey. Very, very bumpy, very rocky road, lots of trauma, childhood trauma, alcohol issues, lots of things that I've had to, move through. And one that I'll touch on is, I'll not go into big details, but my spiritual journey really started when, I'd never had any kind of experiences. So just have to be honest, I was just a sensitive child. But I was in a very dangerous situation where my life was nearly taken. And I didn't know what to do. I was very confused, and I had a voice that came and told me exactly what to do, step by step. Do this, do that, do this, do that, to get me out of that situation with my life, which thank goodness worked. And it just really, I was just very curious thereafter. I was like, what was that voice? Who was that voice? What's happened here? But I definitely know it saved my life, definitely.
So how old were you then, Ashley? How old were you?
I was 22 or 23, somewhere around there.
And the voice came in from nowhere? It was inside your head, was it?
Yes, definitely. Because I don't want to go into too many graphic details. I was in a domestic violence relationship and held against my will, and I really, I was in a very, very, very dangerous situation and didn't know how to get out of it. But I would love to say that after that my life was changed and everything was awesome, but that's not what happened. I had a bit of a drink problem back then, and low self-worth, low self-esteem. And what I did was, years later, I had a reading with the lady, and she told me that I had potential, and if I focused my mind, then I could be a psychic medium, a counselor, an author, and all that. At the time, I was doing I went to do a counseling course. I worked with children. That's one of the things she said, and all of this. And it just blew my mind. I went, really? I've got potential. And from thereafter, that's when life got better. That was when I was about 26, 27. So I still stumbled along, but I've made so much progress and studied and trained and workshops and retreats and everything else thereafter. But it's been the best journey. Hard work, but worth it.
No, when you were, when the voice came, I'm just interested in the voice. Was it a female voice? And where were you exactly when the voice came? And did you write down the message, or did you just remember the message?
Well, it was more like, I was in a situation where something needed to happen. I needed an exit plan, and it needed to happen right there and then. And I was going to do something else. The only way I can put it is I was going to do something else I was trying to figure out, I was confused. What am I going to do? What am I going to do to get out of this situation? And I was going to do something else. But the voice told me to do something different, exactly what to do. And I just trusted that, because I just didn't have any options, kind of thing. And I feel like if I had picked the other choice, I would not be here. Just definitely not. Now, it was a very soft voice. It was very subtle. It was female. I have to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure if it was my higher self, if it was an angel, if it was a guide. I don't know, but I know that it guided me to safety. So
were you can you remember what you were doing? Were you meditating? Was it in a dream?
No, I was wondering how graphic to be, but I was being choked. I was being choked. And I was nearly passing out, going to lose my life. I was in the middle of domestic violence. And what I was going to say would have aggravated this person. So I chose to say what the voice told me to say, which calmed this person down slightly. So, very dangerous situation. I was already battered and going to be choked out, threats to kill. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to try and escape, and I'm going to say this, but if I had have done that, it would have enraged this person. So the second option of what the voice told me to do, tell him you love him, tell him you'll stay, tell him that you'll not say anything, tell him you'll be together. I did not want to say any of that, but that saved my life, because that did something there to this person. I was like, I'm going to run for the door. I'm going to get off me. Well, no, it wasn't the right thing to do. And the voice told me, no, do this.
Oh, the voice said, tell him you love him. And then the next phrase came, and then the next one, is it? Or was it
Yeah.
like rapping?
It was very, no, it was exactly like word for word. And it was, I also had the feeling of, we're pretending that it's okay, because I didn't want to say any of those things. It was like, tell him you love him. It's like, right, okay, we're gonna have to do this. Just tell him you love him. Tell him you'll not tell anybody. Tell him you'll stay. Tell him he can stay here. All of it. And I knew I didn't want to say that, but I was kind of, oh, what do you do? And I just word for word repeated, just calm down, just be limp, don't move, just say this, do that, say this, do that. And I just did exactly what was said. And to be honest, I blacked out thereafter and sort of woke up, was able to get away, phoned the police. This guy was caught. We went to court multiple times. He was put in jail. So yeah, that one. I was kind of like, ooh, I was going to go this way. I was going to run. I was going to fight. I was going to do this. And this guy was an ex-soldier. He told me he's killed people before. I'm sorry to have to be graphic and go there, but
No, but it's good we're talking about it, because especially in this present time, so there's so much physical, mental, and domestic abuse. So, by talking about it, I think you're going to bring hope to some people that it is possible to get away. It is possible. The strength came from within. We just need to listen to the voice.
But let me tell you, Danielle, the smarter thing there would have been to listen to the voice that spoke to me before it ever got there, which told me he's not good. I just had so many bad feelings about him. I had a voice in my head literally say to me, this is not going to end good. You need to exit now. This was before, very at the start of this. I only knew this guy 3 or 4 months. Stalker, extremely psychotic person. And the voice told me at the very start when I met this guy, my family, friends, everybody told me. Sadly to say, I was in such a bad place, I didn't care if I lived or died. Didn't matter. And I didn't listen. But, I remember being on the phone with this guy, and we had split up, and he said, if you don't take me back, I'm going to kill you. And I put down the phone, and I went, no, yeah, I'll take you back. Put the phone down, and my whole system went, no, don't do it. This is wrong. And I didn't listen. Now, it should never have got to the point that it got, because I was not listening to the voice was telling me, my body was telling me, my family, friends. I was in denial. I don't know, a very different person then to who I am now. But and I have had other. If I went this graphic, I'll go here. I've had many. What way would I put it? I have many times in my life where I've had a couple of suicide attempts. In childhood, teenage years, I've had many dangerous situations I've been in where I always sort of just, got by. One would be I had a drink problem. I was out drinking, argued with somebody. I was literally in a dress, in the gutter, in the rain, and some guy pulls up and said, oh, where do you live? Where are you going? I told him where I lived. He brought me home, put me in the door, and he said, don't ever do that again. Don't do that. Do not get into a car with anybody. Obviously, he was a nice guy, but the next day I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing to myself? Low self-esteem, low self-worth, trauma, bitter, jealous, mixed up from a messed up childhood. But I've had to grow and learn and evolve. And so mine's is quite a hectic story, but everybody has it. Everybody has that inner guidance system. Whether or not we listen is the thing. So
yeah, but the more people talk about it, the more it can make sense. Because if you're on your own, say when you were a child, no one told you about this inner guidance.
No.
You wouldn't have known about it because you wouldn't have read about it. But now that we're talking about it, maybe young people can listen and say, well, yeah, I don't have to take You know, I don't have to be like that. There are other ways. There are, you know, people I can seek help from. You know, because I was just talking about Childline the other day. You know, like that never existed before, where young kids can just pick up a phone and talk about their problems.
Mhm.
And also, I was saying about parents. You know, that they don't have a guidebook, do they? So a lot of them are just trying to do their best, but their best is not good enough. You know, so but the more, like, the next generation, they will be more enlightened, you know, if we can talk about it now. So yes, thank you for that. It was just like, yeah, you know, when you were a child or growing up, there wouldn't have been a lot of people talking about these emotional things. And also the case with the Rochdale. Do you know about the Rochdale sex?
Is it the girls?
The girls, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was just an innocent girl. But because she wasn't being looked after properly at home, she would get into cars and she would go with all these men
Yeah.
because they were giving
Yeah.
her little presents, and then she felt good. And then they started to abuse her. But then the police didn't want to get involved. The police
Yeah.
didn't want to know anything. And that's the saddest part of it, that, you know, she had to go through all that. But now people are talking. So yes, thank you for that. You know, the what we need to say to people is that listen to your instinct, because you have this inner guidance.
Yes.
But that's what we have to do, you know, raise people's self-esteem, self-worth, and self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you know, like, now you are a speaker. You can go on stage and tell your story, and it means
Yeah.
more people will hear what you have to say. And even in a book, I don't know if you've written a book, Ashley.
Not yet.
Oh yeah, you see, there you are. So yeah, April, do you want to come
Yeah,
in?
so well, I mean, gosh, what an experience, Ashley. What can I say? But you do find that many of the gifted psychics have come through all sorts of emotional challenges. You know, that is quite a common thing, isn't it? So, did you hear that voice again later on?
I have to be honest, never that clearly, but definitely in meditation, I've had some, I can't even think of the words, some really exceptional experiences and just fantastic wisdom and knowing and knowledge that is passed down and connection. I think that's what I would say. And actually, just what I've noticed, it's really ramped up this year. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I've been really meditating like an absolute um, champion. I don't know what our way to say it, for the past maybe 7 years. And I meditate every day for 1 hour. Now, there would be this experience I would have maybe once every 6 months, and it was like, whoa. So I would be meditating, and it feels like I can physically feel the energy move me, like electricity, like smack. And I'm like, whoa, what was that? That was amazing. Now, in 2020, especially in, say, the last 2 months, I've had that experience maybe every day for a solid 2 weeks, every day in a row. And I'm going, what is going on with the energy? The energy is now coming and blasting so strong. I can physically feel it move my body. And that might actually scare people. It doesn't scare me at all. I'm like, bring it on. Let's go. I can physically feel you now here, moving with me. So it's amazing. I've had lots of connections, lots of stuff that I write down, lots of inspiration, objects, symbols that you get through meditation. I don't usually seek that. I usually just sit with the intention of sitting with the energy, and I'll see a beautiful purple lilac rotating. To me, that's just the energy of me and my aura and my connection to God, the universe, whatever anybody wants to class that as I'm very open and respectful. I invite that back. So yeah, never as clearly as that. And I just felt like it had to get to the point where of no return, of that much pressure, where it literally was a voice in my head, it was as clear as day, telling me exactly what to do. Like, it shouldn't, to me, it was kind of like they were like, right, we're going to have to really step in here. This is a really bad situation. It shouldn't have got here. Because to be honest, it's very subtle. People think it's going to come in and hit you like pal. No, it's taken me years to get there. It's very subtle. But when the chips are down and it was needed to be, it was very clear. So that's what I would say.
You know the electrical shock. That is amazing, isn't it? Does anything else come, like messages, or have you changed yourself? Do you feel a change is coming? Do you, some people talk about the resonance, what do you call it? The
Human resonance, is it?
Yeah, that's the one. Apparently that it's changing, or I'm not sure, but some people have been saying they've been feeling unwell. And I know a lady who said she felt so blasted that she couldn't get out of bed. So
yeah, I know people who have said the same thing. For me, that's not the way that I experience. I get, people say they have ascension symptoms, which is kind of like flu-like symptoms, aches, pains, sore back. They're lying in bed. I actually have friends who experience it this way. Mine's is definitely more, I will get loving feelings, connections. I know my guides are there with me. And actually, the strangest thing, I'm feeling a real change in how I'm working with clients. And what I'll say about that is, when I'm working with clinical hypnotherapy and sovereign alchemy, I am very aware, and I never was, I have to be honest, I'll have the person seated there in front of me and I'm here. I'm very aware of their guides and their team standing around them. And my guides and my team standing here, as creating like a sacred space. And the processes that I use the violet flame of transmutation. I am finding that I am naturally, when I'm talking them through it, I'm doing this, and I go, well, what am I doing? To me, it's like naturally my hands are creating energy, and it's
yeah, I used to do that quite a lot. In the car when I was a passenger, for example, I would just I'd be doing this all the time, but I stopped doing it. It's like you can feel the energy moving. Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, and also, like I've been reading recently that, by just doing this, although you don't have to be a healer, but doing this will calm you down. And, doing this would calm you down. And doing just your nails would calm you down. Yeah. So just by using your hands, you're doing something to your brain. So we should all be doing this every day. People clap, don't they? So, why do we do this?
It's good for clearing space in
corners.
Yeah,
that as well. But when we applaud people, So that's interesting, isn't it? I like that physical jolt.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can I ask, Ashley, is there a particular time of day that you prefer to meditate that's better for you?
Definitely in the morning, because so I would wake up, now obviously with all this in the summer it is a bit different because I work in a nursery school as well, but I would be getting up, say if my usual routine, if I was in work in the school, depending, I would wake up, I'd say about 4 in the morning, or sometimes 4:30. I go to bed really early, that's just how I live my life, but anyway. So I would wake up, I would go downstairs, I would have a coffee, just make sure I'm awake. And caffeine's okay, it gives you a little bit of pep. And then I'll go back up and go back to bed. And I cheat, I'm sorry, I cheat people. You're supposed to sit bolt right up and all that, but I go back to bed. Pull the covers back over me, put on some binaural beats, and I meditate for a solid hour. And just the experiences I have lying in bed doing that is just otherworldly, and I would advise anybody to do that. You just get sharper concentration skills, memory skills, spiritual. To me, it's a little bit of like putting money in the bank. It's a weird way of saying it, but every
Yeah,
little bit.
I think that's interesting.
I was
But do you
thinking
have? But Ashley, do you have a partner?
Yes.
And you can go and meditate while he's asleep next to you.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And
So I would.
he doesn't say anything then.
No, well, I will lie. I'm very disciplined. I will lie perfectly still. So there's only maybe been once or twice where he's moved and I've went, stop moving. But aside from that, he's out like a log, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, interesting. But
He doesn't mind you waking up at 4 o'clock and going down and then coming back into bed. And
no, not at all.
I mean, is he spiritual himself?
He is, yeah.
So he knows what you're doing. He knows you're meditating.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is, I'll give you. I'm so sorry. I don't want to seem like I'm taking up all the time, but I'll give you a really quick.
That's the point of it, isn't it? For you to talk to us.
Is my partner Chris, when I first started going to circle, and that's just going and sitting in a development circle, which I've done solid for years every Monday evening. When I first started to go and open up, he actually didn't like it at all. He found it very weird. He's very, he's a tattooed guy, and he's, a doorman, and he's very manly. And he was like, this is weird. Is it a cult? Is it you're sitting in a circle? Is it a Satanist thing? Like, he was really weirded out by it. And I was like, no, listen, you're not going to stop. He would actually at the start tell me to stop meditating. I needed to spend more time with my family. Like, he was so, it's weird. But as he has seen me grow and progress over the years and seen the change in me, he was so against it at the start. Now he has completely awoken spiritually. And the stuff that he's got so much wisdom, it's actually crazy. Coming from a guy who's so macho. And then the funniest thing is now he's having issues, hope he doesn't mind me saying, with his friends, because he will be saying things that are like really wise and they're like, what are you talking about? So he's going through his own thing now, which is very interesting. So that was what I had to go through back then. But he is so, he meditates now and he would have never done that. And he has changed so much, same as I have. So interesting.
Yeah, that's good. And you've got children, haven't you?
Yes, I have a daughter, 17-year-old daughter.
Yeah, is she kind of spiritual as well?
You know what the funniest thing is? She started off, oh, that's weird. What are you doing? Oh, no. And oh, it's a bit embarrassing. And now, recently, she's came and went, I've been having these really amazing dreams, these spiritual dreams. I'm interested. And I'm like, don't worry. I'll have you in one of my classes soon enough. So
you don't look old enough to have a 17-year-old daughter.
Well, that's a compliment. I get that off. Yeah. Thank you.
So the gifts that you have, Ashley, were they in your family? Did other members in your family have them?
Yes. So I'll give you two veins. On my dad's side, we had my dad's uncle. He was a very gifted man, but he was very highly ridiculed. So he would have had a very, very strong form of mediumship and psychic ability where he could just see spirit people walking around objectively, like outside of himself. And he was ridiculed very badly, so he kind of just didn't tell anybody. He would only tell close family. He couldn't do anything with it. The time and the place, it wasn't right. So it was all very odd, and he had to sort of keep that under wraps, but his family knew. One quick story my dad would say is one of the neighbours died, and his funeral was going up, and he said he could see the man walking behind the funeral that had passed on. Mm-hmm. So, but he couldn't really express it. And then we have my wonderful grandmother, who was the most outgoing, eccentric, strong, bubbly, vibrant woman. Didn't care what anybody thought, what anybody said. She had so many, to me at the time when I was younger, crazy stories, which would have been a near-death experience, seeing loved ones past, coming to tell her messages, UFOs, seeing leprechauns.
UFOs, yeah. Wow. Leprechauns. That's what we started by saying, because we don't have much time. Do you have any thoughts about our present time? Or can you see the future? Can you give us some...
Well, what I
And before we finish, maybe you could just give some healing to all of us.
And
People who
also make sure you give your website address, actually,
yeah.
or a way that anyone...
Oh, but you can always put it at the bottom, April. You can always put it, you know. So
Yes.
yeah, don't worry. Just quickly say to us what you believe is what the current time is about.
So, the current times, I do believe this is an absolute paradigm shift that has been coming a long time coming, and thousands of years. The golden age is here, and it's kind of being birthed at the minute, and that's why I would describe everything as being very painful for a lot of people, for a lot of spiritual people, for your average Joe. People are now waking up and going, what is going on? And what I would say is anybody that's even spiritually minded or has awakened in any sense, it's now kind of not our duty, but I would view it as my duty to help guide. And people have a lot of questions now. To be honest, what I feel is that there's going to be another wave of whatever this is. And that again, to me, it's like a pressure cooker, press, press, press. How uncomfortable can I make this until people wake up? That's what I feel like's coming. And thereafter, I feel like things will ease and things will get better, because things are out in the open now. Things, people can't deny it anymore. Literally, they can't deny what they're seeing and what they're hearing. And it's really up to us to sort of guide and help. So I feel like another round of ridiculousness, and then things will ease and sort of, now that's just my personal feelings and things. But sovereignty and free will, people, if you can please check out your rights, check out your own sovereignty and self-governance. And that is the most important thing I can say for anybody. Do not bow under pressure or to anybody else's will, government's will, whatever it may be. Be yourself, make your own choices. That's very important. Sorry, I went off on one. What was the last bit you were speaking?
No, are they there, whoever up there, are they there guiding us?
Yes, it's more, this is like preordained. This has to happen. And I was actually over in Wales. Scott Milligan, he's an amazing physical medium. We went and we did a seance, and his guide came through and says, listen, we're going to be here holding space. We're going to be here supporting. They actually said stuff about the economy that was to come, and they says, listen, we're holding space, we're there, we're guiding. If you can tap into it, like I say with the meditation, that's for each and every person. That's their birthright. If they choose it, to connect in and feel supported and guided from the inside out, and not to be looking out at all of this illusion that's going on, and just stay in here on our guidance system.
So your advice is for us to meditate as much as we can to get in touch with that voice. So that's one good thing. Another good thing is, what can you send some healing, like to the world? Is that, yes? So
Absolutely.
maybe if we just say a little prayer, send the blessings.
Yeah.
Okay, just a quick prayer, that's fine.
Absolutely. And what I would say to anybody that wishes to connect in with this healing energy from above, from within, from without, inside, outside, it doesn't matter, it's all one. And what I would say is, anybody wishing to connect with this energy that I'm sending now, it is connected to the violet flame of transmutation and the dragon energy. And what I would just like anybody to become aware of, whether you do, whether you don't, that's absolutely fine, is you may begin to feel in the palm of your hands, maybe a little bit of heat, maybe a little bit of tingling, maybe just a sensation, maybe a bit of energy. But this is natural healing energy, self-healing energy from the universe that is there for every person to be tapped into. And it's comfort, it's reassurance, it's safety, it's security, and knowledge that everything is as it should be, and we are moving in the right direction. And so be it.
Oh, thank you. That was lovely. I really felt it.
Thank
Felt
you.
this energy kind of moving. You know, just it shows you just a simple prayer can move all the molecules inside of us. You know, like tingling. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
thank you very much. We've got how many minutes have we got? 3 minutes.
3
We've got.
minutes. So
Yeah.
can I ask Ashley about other planetary worlds, extraterrestrials, other beings from other planets? Do they work with you, Ashley? Do you have connections with that sort of
Absolutely.
thing?
And I'll run through this one really quickly because I know we're pressed for time. I went on a bit of a journey. I also worked with a shaman before, and I would go to connect in with, you know, different layers of yourself, your psyche, because it's the microcosm to the macrocosm. It's all connected. And I have a guide named Orion, and I know he is of extraterrestrial nature, galactic guide, and his is more knowledge and wisdom that he impresses um, in me, to me, through me. And also what he showed me was that in like a past life there was a, you know, Native American Indian. There was Native American Indian guide connected to me, and there's me, and then there's him, and we were all connected. And I know that the star systems and things, and he's actually of Arcturian descent. That's where he's connected in, and there's very much guidance and the teacher element. And it just showed me the different layers. So we are being guided, and anybody that wants to tap into that extra subtle, amazing energy definitely has it there. And what I would say, people, there is, I have no fear. There's absolutely no fear associated with this. So that's what I want to say about that.
Okay, just tell us about your website or your details of how people can contact you.
Yes, my website. God, I hope I don't send them to the. I'll put the link underneath. It's fairly new. It's Teer spiritual medium hypnotherapy, and I, you know, I have the Sovereign Spirit. It's my YouTube channel because, you know, I have also an interest in psychology and philosophy,
I'm
and
just going to check my.
I mix everything together there just to be a benefit to people's life. Even the advice, wisdom, whatever passed on is just, that's it. All good. Teer psychic medium, Teer clinical hypnotherapy, and I think that's about it because that's a lot.
We'll put your links at the bottom of the YouTube video. Well, thank you ever so much. I mean, it's been amazing. We'll chat again because we need to form this connection that will bring in this ascension. I'm looking forward to this 5D, you know, like, whoa. Yeah, we've got less than 1 minute. A quick word, Ashley, just to piece of advice.
A book you've read, something like that.
A book I've read. What I would tap in there to say is, and I wrote it down. It's the autobiography of a yogi, Paramananda Yogananda.
Oh yes, yeah, I love that book. Really loved it. It was so good. I never finished it because I didn't